because you know you're worth more than that. You know a little bit of attention is not enough for you to catch feelings, but you're just trying to find somebody to fill that void and like fix that certain part of your life so it's not like an empty hole anymore. I don't know, there's something telling me he really would not be okay with that. Now, this is something that I would not tolerate. I would, of course, I'd be upset. I would be fuming. Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back. So I am bringing you guys another boy talk today. It has been a while. It has been a while. Make sure to follow me over on Instagram if you do ever want to get involved with these kinds of videos in the future, because it's always where I ask you guys to send in questions or send in topics or whatever it may be. But before we dive right on into the juicy questions, I just want to I just want to thank today's sponsor, which is Surfshark. If you're not aware of what Surfshark is a virtual private network or VPN that helps protect your private information online. Surfshark has so many benefits, including protecting your passwords, photos, and private messages. It also allows you to bypass internet censorship and country restrictions. So for example, if you can't find a certain movie or TV show on any streaming platform in your country, you can look in other countries. I absolutely love how it lets you access blocked websites, online content and applications like 15 different Netflix libraries. 15 different ones, because your girl over here is so sick of her own Netflix library, because I've watched nearly every good TV show and every good movie on it. So now I can start diving into other countries' Netflixes, which is just unreal. Surfshark also blocks ads, trackers and malware, which is a huge problem in this day and age. Do you know if you're ever having a conversation with somebody and you mention a product and then the next day you'll get an ad for that exact product and you literally feel like somebody is spying on you through your phone? Well, Surfshark helps you avoid all of this and the targeted ads that you do get, because it freaks me out so much because they are using our information and our data for wrong reasons, if you ask me. Surfshark can also be used on as many devices as you like, so you can share with family and friends, and this is something that other VPNs don't offer. They also don't log or track anything you do, so everything you do online stays completely confidential and private to you and you only. And they also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I mean, with all these benefits and 30-day guarantee, where are you going wrong? Like, where are you going wrong? So if you use my discount code Jess, you can get 85% off plus 3 months free. So I will leave my link down below in the description box. I honestly could not recommend them enough. They keep you so safe on the internet and it's so needed in this day and age. But yes, let's dive it on in to the questions now. Thank you Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. So our first question today is, do you think it's normal to feel like your relationship is different 6 months after being together? Like, I know I still love him, but I just feel like we're not as excited about each other as we were, or that we're a bit more laid back. It's so hard to explain, but I hope you know what I mean. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. You're referring to the honeymoon stage. Now, 6 months is a very short amount of time, but everyone's honeymoon stage lasts different lengths of time. Like, some people's last 6 months, some people's last a year, and it can go up to 2 years, but 2 years tends to be the point where no matter who you're with, what's going on, the honeymoon will end. That's kind of the maximum life the honeymoon stage has. So I feel like you guys are just starting to fall out of the honeymoon stage and into like normal relationship day-to-day life, which is gonna happen no matter who you're with. Like, you know, the honeymoon phase where you're so excited and you get butterflies and you can't wait to see them, and like you literally feel like a little teenager in love, or a little teenager having your first crush again. Like, it's just all so new and exciting, and you know, you don't know what's coming, you don't know them, you're still getting to know them, and it's just so amazing and fun. But unfortunately that just doesn't last forever, and no matter who you're with, that will come to an end. I personally am not a fan of the honeymoon stage. I find it super anxiety inducing, could I say? I don't know, I don't like it. Like, I don't like the uncertainty, I don't like the unknown, and also because, you know, once somebody gets past the honeymoon stage, sometimes people's feelings can change and they're like, actually I was not in love with you, I was just infatuated with you. Because I've also been in that situation before, kind of like a two-way thing thing where it wasn't love, it was just infatuation. I personally prefer the part of the relationship where you get to the stage where you guys are super comfortable together and you are more laid back and you are just so happy and content in each other's company, and it's not like this, oh, I've got to impress them all the time, every time I see them, you know, I've got to be looking my best. Once you kind of move past all of that is my favorite bit. So this might just be your first relationship, possibly, and maybe this is just all new to you. It kind of seems like you're a little bit worried and concerned that you aren't as excited about each other or whatever, but this can actually be a good thing because you are moving into the part of the relationship now where you are going to start to feel safe together and you're going to start to feel secure, and you are actually starting to like build something more solid together once you move past the honeymoon phase, in my experience. So yeah, I don't think it's anything to worry about, but I feel like this is definitely the phase of the relationship where you will kind of realize and decide if this is the person for you, because you get to just see them in their every day to day, the way they normally are, the way they always have been with family and friends. Like, they're not on their best behavior, they're not just trying to, like, you know, impress you all the time. So I feel like it can also be a good thing when you guys do move out of that phase, so you can really look at the relationship and be like, you know, are we compatible, are we not compatible? But yeah, nothing to worry about, don't freak out, it happens to us all. Okay, so our next one is, so I'm 25 and have been in a few relationships / casual flings, but I'm feeling ready to find someone and have a serious relationship. The problem is I'm so picky, and it's just because I've wasted my time on people who weren't worth it before, and I don't see the point in doing that anymore. Do you think it's important to be picky so you make sure you're not settling for less, or does being picky mean you may miss out on something that could potentially be good? Like, I'll go on one date and decide immediately not to pursue it because he has one personality trait I'm not a fan of, or he'll do something that reminds me of an ex and I'm like, nah. We've got a little bit to untangle here. Okay, so I feel like it is important to be picky to make sure you're not settling for less. You know, it's important to know your worth, it's important to know what you will and won't tolerate, it's important to know what you do and don't want in a relationship. I feel like these are things that we should all do, and we should all know what we are worthy of, you know what I mean? And not settle for less. But I definitely do think that you can cross a line where you become way too picky to the point that your standards are so impossibly high that no human being could ever possibly reach those standards, because they are not possible to reach for a human being. Like, you know, at the end of the day, we're all human. Human beings are flawed. We're all flawed, you know, we all have baggage on our back. None of us, you will not meet anyone who doesn't have baggage on their back, you know, who hasn't done certain things in their life that they wish they hadn't, or made mistakes. Like, life is a journey and it's all about learning, and the only way you can learn is if you make a mistake and then you learn from it. And it's kind of like a whole cycle our whole lifetime, because we basically come into the world with like a clean slate, and we've got to like figure our way through this thing called life, you know, and we're just all trying to do the best we can, you know. So I don't think you're ever going to meet somebody, like, you're never going to be able to morph this perfect human being. There's always going to be things in your partner that they do that may annoy you, or that may not be your favorite trait, or that you don't really understand why they do this certain thing this way. It's just the same way as you probably have certain personality traits that somebody else who you'd be in a relationship with might find really hard to deal with, or might not understand why you have this trait or you do something the way you do. And that's the whole thing of relationships, is relationships take a lot of work. Like, when you think about it, it's two whole human beings with a whole life behind them, and just the way they are coming together and trying to make a life together and become a team and morph together. Like, it's really hard. So it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of compromise and just working together and understanding and listening to understand and not listening to respond. So yeah, I really do feel like that there is that line you can cross where you become way too picky, where you actually could potentially miss out on something that could be really good, because you're never going to meet someone and it's just like everything, you know, there's not one thing that doesn't irritate you or not one thing that doesn't annoy you, because there's always going to be something, always. Like, humans are so complicated, we're made up of so many things, and we have so many thoughts, and we have so many personality traits, and this and that and that, and it's never ending. So you're never just going to meet someone and be like, yeah, everything is perfect. You know, there's always going to be something that you guys have to work on. And I feel like that's kind of part of life, because if you're with someone and you're in a relationship and you've got to compromise and you've got to understand their point of view and all of this, you know, it makes you learn, and it also helps you grow as a person. I feel like the way you'd go on one date and then just decide straight away, no, this trait, or he did this one thing, or he said this one thing the other way, I feel like you're never going to meet somebody by doing that, because we can all always find something. Like, if we look hard enough, we'll always find something. My best advice here would be to figure out what it is you do and don't want in a relationship, but be super realistic about it. Like, things that humans can actually reach and standards that we can reach and achieve. And then I would also say to give people a chance. Like, you're not even giving these people a chance. Like, one day, what is one day? Like, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours maximum. Like, if you were spending 3 hours with someone on a first date, that's a long time. But how much are you really going to get to know someone in that period of time? Not at all. You're not really going to know anything much at all about this person, because there's so much to learn about somebody. So I'd say it's so important to give someone a chance, but always have in the back of your mind knowing what it is you do and don't want and what you're looking for. You know, I feel like if you do give people chances, then you will find somebody who you are willing to work on a relationship with. Like, a relationship doesn't just happen. You don't just like shit out a relationship. Like, it's hard work and it does take work, but you've got to find someone that you're willing to work for, and that the both of you guys are willing to work on this relationship and compromise with each other and, you know, understand and all of these things. So yeah, you're too picky. You need to unpick yourself a little bit, because, you know, there are some really good people out there, but you need to give them a chance, because none of us are perfect. Neither are you. Unfortunately, we all have flaws, you know, and it's just always going to be that way. So yeah, I know it can be hard once you've been kind of, you know, fucked over, people have done you wrong, because I've definitely been there before. But if you're letting people who have done you wrong get in the way of meeting someone, then you're letting them win. You need to not let what people have done to you in the past affect your future potential relationships, and just go in on a clean slate, you know, start fresh. And yeah, best of luck, my darling. Best of luck. Okay, so moving on. I've been with a guy for the past 8 months and I love him so much. He's someone I really do see myself with for a long time, but at the same time, I'm 19 and I don't know how I feel about finding someone at such a young age. I kind of want to live a bit, travel, and have a hoe phase as well. So the 3 things you say you want to do is live a bit, travel, and have a hoe phase. So I would say, you know, travel and live a bit. If you're with someone and you have a good thing and yous are happy together and yous want to be together, I feel like you can live and travel while you're with that person, because you can travel with that person and live a bit with that person and create memories together. The only thing you couldn't do while with this person and in a relationship is have a hoe phase. So I personally feel like what you need to weigh up is what is more important to you. So is it more important to stay with this person and build your relationship, etc., or is it more important that you go out and have your hoe phase or get to know people, you know, and kind of whatever it may be. I personally feel like that's what it really comes down to. Like, if you stay with this person and then 5 years down the line, are you going to look back and resent this person because you didn't get to have your hoe phase and you didn't kind of get to go out and date, etc.? Is that something that you would kind of hold over this person and resent them for and regret? Because if it's something you're going to regret, then I feel like that's your decision and that's it made. Or is it more important to build and grow and kind of, you know, live life with this person and build a strong foundation with them that could possibly last? Because, you know, people do stay together from a young age. Like, people do meet in their teens and then stay together for a lifetime. You know, it does happen. I know you're only 19 and you're probably seeing everyone else around your own age kind of doing whatever they want and having their whole phase or whatever it might be, but, you know, maybe just ask yourself, in 10 years time, what would you regret more? Which would you regret more? Would you regret walking away from a relationship that could have blossomed into something amazing, or would you have regretted not getting to experience that whole phase, kind of dating around, etc.? You know, this is a complete personal preference, so it's so hard to give you advice, because I feel like this has to come down to what you really want, and I don't want to influence that whatsoever, because it's so important that you're not going to look back and resent somebody or have regrets. You know? Okay, so the next question is, he got a private lap dance at a stag do. Am I wrong to be upset? Now, this also is a real personal thing, because you could have 2 people here. One girl will say, I don't care, do whatever you want, get a lap dance if you want, and then another girl's like, hell no. What I would say here is, have you guys ever sat down and set boundaries in your relationship? Like, boundaries are so important. Like, what you will not put up with, what is a big fat no to you. Like, you need to be so clear about this stuff. I feel like this is something that needs to be done very early on in a relationship, like what you are expecting out of this relationship, because when you set boundaries, then the other person has the chance to be like, yeah, I'm happy with this, to move forward. I commit to, you know, us agreeing that we won't be doing these things in our relationship. Or that person might turn around and be like, you know what, I am really willing to do that or not do this in the relationship, so I don't want to be in this relationship. So I feel like boundaries is such an important thing to set very early on. And if you haven't set boundaries, which I feel like here you haven't, because you're saying, am I wrong to be upset? If you choose to stay with this person, I feel like it's very important to set a boundary. Now, this is something that I would not tolerate. Of course, I'd be upset. I would be fuming. I wouldn't even be upset. The disrespect, that to me, that is disrespect. If you are in a committed relationship with me, you do not go and get a lap dance off someone. I'm sorry, that is wrong to me on all levels. But again, personal preference. That is something I would not tolerate in a relationship, but someone else might. So if you're upset, that is okay. And don't let him tell you otherwise, because hello, I always kind of bring it back to, what if the tables were turned? And I feel like this is always a great way to kind of get the other person to see your perspective on it and put themselves in your shoes. How would he feel if you went to a strip club? Because I'm obviously assuming that this is where he got the lap dance. Like, you're not going to get a lap dance anywhere else, really, are you? And you got a lap dance off like a really hot naked guy. Like, would he be okay with that? Because I don't know, there's something telling me he really would not be okay with that. And if that's the case, double standards. Now, if you guys haven't set boundaries, I do feel like this is something that you guys can kind of move on from and kind of learn from, because it is kind of both of your guys' fault that you've never sat down and set clear boundaries, so you both know where you stood. And if you've never had that conversation, you know, the lines are blurry. And if you've never kind of expressed what is and isn't okay, if they do something, well, you never told them that that's not okay to you. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like if you've never sat down and had a conversation like that, you can move forward, but you need to sit down and have a serious conversation about boundaries. The thing that would hurt me most about that would be the disrespect. Regardless of if we had a conversation about boundaries, I don't know how I would move on from that, or if I would, because I personally don't feel like somebody in a committed relationship should feel like that's an okay thing to be doing. Like, it just doesn't sit right with me, the way my morals are and the way I kind of think when I'm in a relationship. So yeah, food for thought. So the next one is, every time I'm single, I can't help but get feels for the first boy who gives me attention. Help. Okay. So I feel like what's happening here is you're trying to get guys to like fill some kind of void in your life. Maybe you're not aware of this, but whether it be like, you know, kind of desire or loneliness, or it could be so many things, but you're just trying to find somebody to fill that void and like fix that certain part of your life so it's not like an empty hole anymore. I feel like the only way to stop this from happening, and this is exactly what I would do, is I'd stop talking to anyone romantically, so you don't have an opportunity to catch the feels, and just work on yourself. Like, you need to work on yourself, look at yourself and be like, right, what am I trying to get somebody else to fill here? I feel like before you get into anything with anyone else, it's so important to know yourself. Know your worth. If you know your worth, you're not going to get the feels for any guy that gives you attention. You're just not. It's not going to happen, because you know you're worth more than that. You know a little bit of attention is not enough for you to catch feelings. You know that there's so much more to come before you will even get to that place with someone. And you need to also figure out how to make yourself happy, because it could also be a case that, you know, the attention is giving you like a buzz, and then you're like buzzing off it, and then that makes you happy, and you're like, oh, I'm not getting this feeling anywhere else, it's great. So I feel like you need to just figure out your worth and figure out how to make yourself happy, because unfortunately nobody can make you happy. Like, you know, you've got to figure out yourself and how to make yourself happy as a whole individual yourself. You know, somebody else will come along and add to your life and they will bring happiness and all that, but they cannot make you happy in yourself. And if you're not happy in yourself and you don't know your worth, then you will let people treat you in a way which you don't deserve, and you will let people walk all over you, and you will be a pushover, because I have been there before. In the past, I didn't know my worth and I didn't know how to be happy on my own first, as Jessica, as my own person, and therefore I was allowing myself to be treated in ways which I should have never allowed. You also said every time I'm single, so it could also be a case if you are recently out of a breakup, or you're recently out of seeing someone, maybe you were seeing someone for a long time and you were very attached to them, that you're now trying to rebound and you're like, you know, trying to forget about this person by focusing on someone else. And I can also tell you, because I've also been there, that that is not going to work. It is not going to work. It is just going to like bury your pain for a little bit, and then there will be a time where it will all just come out, it will explode. You have to deal with that pain and that hurt on your own. Like, nobody else is going to take pain or hurt away that somebody else caused, or if it was a breakup or whatever it may be. And you know, especially after breakups and all of that, I feel like it's so important that you have a time period where you just focus and find yourself, because you can lose a bit of yourself in relationships and stuff, and if it was a toxic one especially. So yeah, I'd say just focus on you, forget about anyone else just for a little bit. Like, it's not going to be forever, and then when you come back to kind of speaking to people and dating, you'll be in a much better headspace, and you just won't get feelings if someone gives you like a bit of attention and it's like, oh, you're so pretty, like, you know. But you can do it, because I feel like a lot of people find themselves there at one point or another in their life, and it's not an unusual situation to be in. So we're going to leave it there for today's video. Don't forget to check Surfshark out. My link is in the description box down below, and follow me over on Instagram to get involved with the next boy talk or girl talk. I promise I won't leave it this long until I film another one again. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for supporting me. Like, honestly, I will never be able to express how grateful I am, and how much your comments and your interaction and engagement and just supporting me full stop means to me. I'm so grateful. But yes, I love you all so very much, and I cannot wait to see you all in my next video. Bye bye, friends.